Dear friends and allies, in these troublesome times, you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here too, he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess.
Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing.
I'm not going to die.
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Well, that went just as expected. Good health.
And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst, of all people. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein. And you must be Godwin, the son of...
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering.
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
It depends what it's all about.
A little delicate diplomacy. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings.
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the council. But I have an idea how to change that.
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre.
Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves, but he won't engage an equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
I'll help you. What exactly should I do?
I'll give you 3 names. Bocek of Kunstadt, Hamann Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
What if it doesn't work?
I refuse to even consider that outcome, because it would mean slow but certain defeat for all of us.
Why me, of all people?
Because you've got a head on your shoulders. You know how to talk, and you're not just out for your own good. You and your friend Henry are similar in that respect. That's why I know I can count on you both. There aren't many like you two left.
Tell me a bit more about those people, so I know who I'm dealing with.
Certainly. Who do you want to start with?
Bocek of Kunststadt. I know the name, but I can't quite place him.
That's just the thing. He's got massive estates, great influence, but he holds back. He doesn't play the big game, because he doesn't like to take risks. He always goes for the sure thing. But once he's made his mind up, not even a pair of oxen will hold him back.
Alder the Alderman. Wasn't he a Kuttenberg councillor?
He still is. The only one who retained his position after the city was taken. Only he's here, instead of cozying up with Sigismund in Kuttenberg. So his days in the council are numbered. But he'll continue to have a strong influence on the guilds and the rich burghers. And that's why we need him.
Anna of Waldstein. The widow of that rich mine owner. What was his name?
Wenzel Bartosz. And I'm not surprised you forgot.
I was quite
Warte,
surprised to
Bartosz
see
kennen wir
her
doch.
here.
Oder? Doch,
Assemblies
Bartosz
like
kennen wir
this
doch.
are more of
A male affair? So far, Godwin, so far. Anna is holding back and behaving like an exemplary young widow. But don't trust appearances. She's got claws, she knows how to do her sums, and she certainly has no love lost for Sigismund.
And what use can she be to us? Apart from her late husband's money, of course.
She's as sharp as they come when it comes to trade. And she knows a thing or two about diplomacy. There are wicked tongues that claim Bartosz acquired most of his wealth thanks to her. And that it was thanks to her that he died, too.
I'll get on it then. Wish me luck.
I wish us both luck. Before the day is over, the die will be cast.
Success to our plans.
Warte mal, Bartosz ist tot? Ist das nicht der, den wir anflirten konnten auf der einen Party von Burghoff? Konrad von Fechter?
Sir, I don't believe I've had the honor.
Nor I, until now. I am Sir Conrad, Lord of Wächter. And you are the heir to the Lord of Rabosh, are you not?
Used to be. My father somewhat disowned me some time ago.
And I used to be the Royal Mint Master, until the king decided to replace me.
Are you going to support the Margrave's proposal?
I haven't quite decided yet. It's true that displeasure against the king is noticeably growing in Kuttenberg, but if our rebellion were to come face to face with Sigismund's army, I'd be risking my future, if not my life.
Do you think you might get your position as Mint Master back again?
I doubt it. Half the town hates Vavak, but no one would even think of saying a word against him. And he knows that his security stands and falls with his function, so he clings to it tooth and nail.
We've got quite a bit in common, wouldn't you say?
More than you think. If my memory doesn't deceive me, you serve as a parish priest. So I recollect, at least, from my recent discussions with Martin.
Served. That's in the past.
Even so. Before King Wenceslas appointed me his mint master, I was a priest. I was even being groomed to become a bishop.
And now look at us. We have cast off our robes and merrily hatched plots against Sigismund.
There's no point in waiting for divine intervention. On the contrary, the current state of affairs demands quite a secular approach.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
Okay, mit denen kann ich nicht reden. Hier ist Hans, mit dem kann ich leider auch nicht reden. Rabbi Samuel. Ah ja, Anna von Waldstein.
God be
Hallöchen.
with you, noble lady.
Ma'am?
There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the two of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
How do you know Liechtenstein's behind it?
I know most of the people here very well. Many of them certainly have doubts about the Margrave's plans, but they wouldn't dream of stating them aloud. While it seems that Lord Liechtenstein, on the contrary, sees his opportunity.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine, and beneficial deals.
Who did you learn from? In my experience, women usually learn other skills.
I acquired the basics from my husband. God rest his soul. And the rest I learnt quickly, as soon as others started sniffing around his estate. So, to the point. What is it that Liechtenstein wants from me?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
Sigismund rächt sich nicht an einer Frau. Du hast Geld, aber du bist auch weise. Dein Vermögen muss geschützt werden.
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you on two fronts. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get
Na
into the
klar.
wrong hands.
Na klar.
Who's that?
Harman Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
And these papers I'm supposed to switch, what do they concern?
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between myself and certain undesirable parties.
You were dealing with the enemy.
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear, but I'll rest easier when those papers are in my hands.
I'm supposed to rob an ally.
Harman Alder was given the documents to deliver to the council. He hasn't yet had a chance to look at them, so he won't even notice the difference.
And the papers I'm supposed to plant on Alder?
Just insignificant documents. If the incriminating ones disappeared without a trace, it would arouse suspicion.
All right, I'll help you. Or at least I'll give it a try.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer courtyard. Bring them to me, and put these there instead. But watch yourself. Odorim's groom has eyes everywhere.
Okay, oh. Okay, dann lassen wir das zuerst machen. Wir müssen nach unten dafür. Nach unten. Wie komme ich hier raus? Nach unten. Nach unten. Oh, 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 oh. Ist das hier der Stallmeister? Ja. Hä, warte mal. Ach so, das ist hier drin. Ah.
What brings you here? God bless.
Das ist langweilig hier, nicht wahr?
Aren't you a bit bored?
What's your problem? The horses are fed and watered. I'm not idle.
God forbid. But standing around here must be a pain in the arse, no? You might get thirsty.
Not really. What of it?
Ah, ich weiß nicht, ob ich das schaffe. 15. Machen wir, wie wär's mit einer Runde Würfeln?
Shall we roll some dice? I'm sure you can take a little breather, eh?
Well, all right. But just for a little while. I'll wait at the table over there.
Na los.
Hey, you!
Oh.
What are you doing here? No one's allowed in here.
Ah, shit.
I'm waiting here for you.
Oh, how's that?
I've been watching you for a while, and I have a feeling you do well to talk a little. In conspectu Dei.
Who in God's name are you?
In God's name indeed. I'm a priest, and I know a wretched sinner when I see one.
Is it that obvious? Christ above.
Don't blaspheme. It'll help you more to confess.
And in the morning, when I met him, I swore I never laid eyes on his daughter. Even though my back was scratched all from our roll in the hay.
That's a mortal sin. Lying with a woman that you're not joined with in holy matrimony. And then lying about it too. That's already 2 commandments broken for the price of 1.
I'll go to hell for that, won't I?
You won't. As long as you repent. Be contrite, fast and pray. 10 Our Fathers. Ego te absolvo.
I'll start right away. Thank you, Father. Hey, didn't you want a game of dice? I've been waiting for you.
Somehow I'm no longer in the mood for it.
That makes 2 of us.
Okay. Sehr gut. Okay, was haben wir noch? Rüstungssets. Aha, 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 aha. Okay. Gut. Das haben wir. Ja, der wollte ja eigentlich mit mir würfeln, ne? Hätte ich mal vielleicht einfach mal machen sollen. Okay, dann gehen wir jetzt wieder zu ihr zurück. Ja. Bruder, geh durch. Ah, hier.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
Lady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal.
Sehr gut, wir danken Ihnen sehr, Ma'am.
And money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
How could I refuse a toast with such a fine lady? To your health, Lady Anna.
And to the success of our efforts.
Godwin, der Säufer einfach, ne? Okay, ihre Unterstützung haben wir. Dann fehlen jetzt noch 2. Einer ist hier. Ja.
I'd like to check your horses out and see if they're as good as you say.
Pah, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it by your leave. Or to arrest my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Alder.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up then. What are you doing here?
We'll talk later and in private. Right now we have more important things to attend to.
Don't try my patience.
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
You're exaggerating, like you've always done.
Me? Exaggerating? You're the one who turned my home into a house of ill repute. Your whores wandering around as if they owned the place.
Oh, actually, anything fun was strictly banned under your roof. But maybe you ought to try it yourself sometime. Then maybe you wouldn't be such a bitter old grouch.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough.
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
Was? Warum?
We've never met, and we have no cause to be enemies. Take back your challenge, and we'll sort things out peacefully.
You've got no other option. You insulted Father's honor.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for violence. I can have a word in private with Lord Odorin, the second, as he desires, and then...
Out of the question. This uncouth lout needs a lesson, and he's got plenty to learn from Christopher. By God's grace, I have at least one son I can be proud of.
Ist eine Bude oder was, ne?
You'll get nothing but shame, as always. Suit yourself, then. We'll fight. Come to the outer courtyard, but quietly. They don't have to put on a show for the crowd.
After you.
Well, that's that. Now, where were we?
Shouldn't we rather...
No, Christopher will sort it out, you'll see.
Ich denke eher nicht, Alter.
We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back.
Au.
Left arm lower. Swing with your whole arm, not just your wrist.
That will do.
Will ich aber auch geraten haben, Arschloch.
My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. That you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war, right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Why? Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. And the sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nipper. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
Aye. The outcome of this war depends on it.
That sounds very important, considering you and Alder are both pretty small players. After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me and tell me what it's all about.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
Na klar.
You're starting to sound like a
Das können wir
brother.
natürlich machen. Wir können ihn natürlich gerne mal mit in eine Schenke nehmen. Okay, dann brauchen wir jetzt nur noch einen, der hier unten anscheinend auch ist. Oder?
And that's exactly why we mustn't push too hard.
Schischka? Ah, hier, Kunststadt.
Sir Bocek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Jobs comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
Don't worry, it's not just your money I want to draw on. Believe it or not, we've gained other patrons for our cause too.
Really? Name at least one of those lunatics, then.
Anna of Volstein, for instance.
Truly? Well, let's see about it, then.
I wouldn't mention the word lunatic.
All right, let's discuss it, candidly. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund?
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Nein!
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
Nein!
I believe Liechtenstein is single.
And an uncertain party. Besides, he's inconvenient for Sigismund. Yitka could end up being a pawn to blackmail both of us.
I'd be honored to oblige. I'm in my prime.
Forget about it. Even if by some miracle you could manage to sire children, you'd die before you could raise them.
The truth doesn't offend, my lord. But I had to give it a try. How about young Lord Capon?
Nein!
He's a youngster still.
Maybe you're right. I reckon he's not ready for marriage yet.
No man of any age ever is. But it's especially true for young rascals like that one. On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Heinrich can always be relied on, despite his temper. Maybe it's not such
Nein!
So, will you support our plan?
You're selling the skin of a boar that's still grunting. First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take place as soon as possible.
And what if Lord Capon refuses?
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Heinrich is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Nein!
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty
Schäm dich,
pass.
Godwin!
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Heinrich.
Oh nein. Ich will nicht Hans verheiraten, außer an Henry. Oh nein, wo ist Hans? Hans? Ich habe ganz schlechte Neuigkeiten.
I've got some good news and some bad news for you.
The bad news is there's hardly any females in this whole damned place.
Yeah.
There's some old bat standing there with two young girls, but she watches over them like a mother hen. So at least tell me the good news.
Lieber erfährt es von uns.
You're going to get married.
Good one. Is she at least pretty?
I don't know. I've never seen her.
You're really a barrel of laughs, Godwin. Wait till Heinrich hears this. Now, enough nonsense. Let's have a drink to your health and my freedom.
Oh nein!
To your health.
Godwin, du bist so ein Arschloch. Oh Mann, es tut mir so leid. Oh, ich will nicht. Ach, Hanusch ist unten, oder? Wo ist Hanusch denn? Ah, der ist unten, ne? Ich will Hans nicht verheiraten. Oh, wir können ja auch als Godwin auf die Karte gucken. Das ist ja interessant. Warum ist denn... Okay, ich hoffe, das ist aber nur... Okay, ich hoffe, das ist nur aus Godwins Sicht so, dass der Ruf da so schlecht ist von ihm. Oh Mann. Oh, ich will nicht.
Take a look at that. A knight. Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me.
Doch.
We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here. Let's rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. As it happens, there's something I'd like to ask you. What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
Well, I have no great expectations. But, all going well, we may be able to establish some joint steps towards the future. As long as we proceed without prior agreement and mutual support, we will be very unlikely to achieve any progress.
I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
Yeah, true.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little.
Stimmt.
Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble,
Ja, das stimmt.
God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest. Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with
Was?
child. No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
As they say, doesn't matter who kneaded the dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well, it could be a miracle. Praise the Lord.
Also ich sag mal so, ne? Ich habe das ja quasi rückgängig gemacht, aber spielen die irgendwie gerade, weil die Stephanie hat uns ja damals erzählt, wo wir im ersten Teil waren, dass sie so lange schon versuchen, Kinder zu kriegen und dass sie, also es nie geklappt hat. Und dann gab es ja die Möglichkeit, dass sie mit Henry in die Kiste gehen konnte. Ist das vielleicht eine Anspielung darauf, dass Henry vielleicht... Nein, ja. Mit dem können wir nicht reden. Ah, Hanusch,
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? By Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to step up. How the hell did you do it?
Well, I explained to him how such an alliance could be mutually beneficial.
Mutually? What do you mean?
He's got a pretty serious personal interest in this... bond.
Stop beating around the bush and spit out what you promised him.
Lord Kunstad has a niece, so I arranged the betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstadt. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Nein!
Oh, fuck. I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Nein, ich will nicht, dass Hans heiraten muss.
Cheers! Cheers to you! And to your parleying skills!
Toll. Lauf, Hans, lauf. Oh, Scheiße, ey. Oh. Ist er noch hier?
Exactly why we mustn't push
Ale!
too hard.
Sir Bocek, your niece Yitka can start preparing for her wedding.
So Hanush agreed, without reservations.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Thank you.
Hätten wir erst mit Hans reden sollen?
Enough formality. We'll have a drink. What do you say?
Kann ich laden? Wann hat er gespeichert? Nein, ist zu weit weg. Scheiße. Nein.
Thank you, but I'd rather not drink. The evening has just begun.
Sorry, aber doch trinke ich nicht. Oh nein, Hans. Hans, es tut mir so leid. Können wir noch mal mit ihm reden, Hans? Oh, es tut mir so leid, Hans.
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstadt will support our cause.
Both of them. Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords.
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes. And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
Yes! The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslas, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Oh Gott, nein, Hans. Oh Gott, es tut mir so leid. Oh Gott, sein Gesicht.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
Oh Gott, nein, Hans. Oh nein! Mein Herz, es tut mir so leid. Das Spiel, ich hasse dich.
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wenceslas' side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rebel get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylenders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants. Chicken shits. Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
And drunks! Give them hell! Lazy fools, the lot of them.
How dare you?
Some of you are even swelling right here in the city council meeting. This is unbelievable.
Remove this swill pot from the hall immediately.
I'm telling the truth. This whole council is a farce. The whole city knows it.
Lord of Sergeants, your insolence just cost you your place on the council, and a month in the dungeon.
But...
Hopefully that'll be enough for him to sober up. And if not, put him in the pillory for a while, bailiff.
I'll see to it as soon as the council is over, Your Majesty.
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore placed the city council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become
Welchen willst du?
rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on you? And speak candidly. We have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you are harsh.
Ich würde dich gern töten, Alter. Wie kann ich... Was soll ich machen? Soll ich nicht... Ach so. Ich würde es schwierig sein würde, die Herren zu bedienen, aber der König selbst, das ist bestimmt eine noch größere Herausforderung.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the king's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm.
Ja, ich würde gerne, aber...
Pour us a monastic wine. The monks had a good year. We have concerns, friend. The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago. Thank you. It is a good year. If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of Wenceslas' reign brought to us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin, and the rest will fall in line.
Where are you going? Mind your own.
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing on every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
We'll find out soon enough, sire.
If only Wenceslas were not such a stubborn ass, and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of it.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace at least among themselves. Jobs does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty. Pour me some of that red, boy.
Hab ich doch gerade.
He'll switch sides when it suits him.
Maybe. But first I'll have to conquer a few more cities. And get a couple more lords on my side. then they take the threat of war seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is good here. To your health, Margaret. And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in the land ruled by a good king.
Thank you, sire. You are too magnanimous.
Why? You did a good job. You can be proud of yourself.
To your health, your majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the consul was meeting, Otto von Berghoff and his men set out for Rabosch. Alderin won't give you any more trouble.
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Odalin, we can handle Ruthard easily. Rabosch will be yours. After all, Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine, boy.
No, we shall have white. We have had enough of red.
White it is. Quickly! If Rabosch falls, others will follow.
I think von Berghoff's little contraption will find its use again.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town hall too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
But to bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see. Soon we will drink to the conquest of another fortress.
You are right. So then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's, and those of the future.
Oh nein, wie besoffen er ist. Feiere mit den Gästen.
Now we close our doors for the evening, Pete. How would you like a wine, Chevalier?
The art of winemaking has a long tradition in La Belle France. Recipes are passed on from father to son, and each generation brings them to perfection. I myself was practically raised on wine. How many I have tasted. Even the French royal court took note of my refined taste. The king himself had wine delivered for his table according to my advice.
So you're not too keen on our stuff?
Comment dire? Let us say you still have much work ahead. If you try hard, you may have some decent wine to celebrate the second coming of Christ.